Welcome to the Den.
Welcome back to our 11th edition of the Den today, guys. Today we've got playoffs. It's playoff season, Caden.
Finally got here. It's
Yeah.
been a long,
long trek.
crazy, windy season, but we made it.
Unfortunately, the Lions did not. They took a 7-hour bus ride up to the Panhandle, different time zone, got beat by Pace 49-21.
Blame it on the time zone, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what could they do? That's a disadvantage.
Oh, yeah.
Tough matchup for the Lions. Pace is a really good squad, top 40 in the state.
Yeah, Oviedo, we have one of the easier districts, I mean, you could say, and we win these matchups. We got a good record, and then sometimes we just go out there and it's rough.
Yeah, this was, I mean, you could kind of predict this. You look at the two biggest matchups we faced all season, Bishop Moore University. Suffered close losses in both of those. Kind of showed that maybe we couldn't hang with the best of the best.
Yeah, I mean, even those, they were close, so there was still some hope, but, I mean, you'd like to see us win at least one of those. And this game, not close, allowed seven touchdowns.
Yeah, nothing good.
Yeah, the stats didn't look terrible. Jerome Curry, 17 of 32, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, that's not like a terrible stat line.
Can't complain about that. You know, Jerome, he hasn't been asked to throw the ball a whole lot, and when you ask him to do it and he performs, you can't put the blame on Jerome.
Yeah, of course. Chance Dixon, one of our best players this season for sure. Maybe our team MVP this year. 14 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Not one of his better games, but still not a terrible game.
Yeah, the Pace defensive line really good. They've got an Ole Miss 4-star commit on there. We were having a tough time blocking him all night. Nothing you can really blame on Chance. He just didn't have the running lanes. Jordan Donahue, a great game, 101 yards, 7 catches. Really showcases what he can do in the future, honestly. Only a sophomore, his first year on varsity. He's going to have a great career.
Yeah, looking at our standout guys, Jerome, Chance, both these guys seniors graduating. Jordan Donahue, he's one of our brightest stars.
Absolutely. The receiving core is still going to be very good next year. Jordan Donahue's coming back. Emiliano's coming back. Bruce is coming back. The receiving core is going to be fine. There's going to be a quarterback competition next year. Sebastian Galliano, Caden Manning, the two front runners for the job. We're going to see who gets that. I'm confident in both of them. They both have great arms, a lot of talent there. I think next year's team's going to be okay.
Yeah, really interesting to see Caden Manning in what he does this offseason too.
Absolutely. It's going to be all about the weight room.
Oh, yeah, going against JV teams all year, it's going to be a completely different environment.
A lot faster.
Yeah, looking at Pace's team, I mean, their quarterback, Ben Tyner, 4 of 7, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Crazy stat line.
Absolutely. The defense was really struggling with him all night. He had 13 carries as well for 152 yards and 3 touchdowns, 6 total touchdowns.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And only 300 yards, too.
Absolutely. Big talent there. The defense was just abysmal, if we're being honest. Not a great game from the defense.
Honest. And they showed some signs of being a quality defense, but again, when we went against those good teams.
Just all season. Anyone could have predicted this. When you play in the biggest games, the defense really struggled all season. Gave up about 50 points to Bishop Moore, gave up the game losing touchdown to University. It's hard to watch.
All right, let's look at some of the other games around Central Florida. Lake Mary, we talked about them a lot this year. Beat a pretty good DeLand squad, 49-14. Noah Grubbs, 11 of 14, 239 yards, and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what we've been asking Noah Grubbs to do all season. We were worried he had definitely a down year from last year, but we said if he could perform in the playoffs, like Merrick could go far, and so far he's done that. 5 touchdowns, 2 more touchdowns and incompletions is great. He was also just named Seminole County Offensive Player of the Year. Maybe that spurred him.
Yeah,
to have a great
yeah.
day.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, Seminole County's got some solid players, but Noah Grubbs probably the biggest name.
Absolutely. I'd say that's a lot of name. Notre Dame commit.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of those coming around Seminole County.
And that next week they're gonna go against 8-3 Spruce Creek.
Yeah, Spruce Creek, not an easy matchup, but I think Lake Mary's going to handle them pretty well. If Grubbs plays as well as he did against DeLand, Lake Mary's going to be fine. They're going to go far in these playoffs.
Jones, our next team, they beat Lecanto 42-7. Darion Coleman, 6 for 7, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. All these quarterbacks throwing no passes, getting all these yards, man.
Yeah, Darion Coleman's really emerged this season, honestly. Last season, he was a very talented kid, but he was behind Trevor Jackson, who went to Florida State. But this year, he's the only quarterback in the room, and he's really performed.
Yeah, and he's only a junior, and it's going to be interesting next year. You know, he's losing Vernell Brown.
Yeah, absolutely. Vernell Brown, 4 catches, 108 yards, and a touchdown. The UF commit, obviously a 5-star. A great target to have, but I think he's going to be okay. He's got a lot of talent, a great arm on Darion Coleman. He was also helped by Jones's rushing attack, 231 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's something we haven't really seen of them too much this year, but
That's what we've been asking to
Yeah,
see all
they're-
season, really.
they're
When
stepping
Darion
up.
only has to throw 7 passes to score 42 points, I think you're okay with that. Everyone's happy.
yeah, next week they're gonna go against 8-3 Zephyr Hills. I mean, Jones has been so dominant this year. You got to imagine another win there.
Absolutely. Keep that undefeated record intact. Next up, we have Edgewater. They beat East Bay 35-7. Not much of a matchup there. East Bay, not a great squad. Carter Emmanuel, the quarterback, pretty solid game. He's young, only a sophomore. 10 for 12, 160 yards and 4 touchdowns. 1 pick, but it's fine. When you throw 4 touchdowns, you can afford a pick.
Yeah, I mean, just such a dominant team. We knew they were going to do this coming into this playoffs. They've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder this season with those 2 losses. So
Actually, only 1 loss. TFA, they got the loss strip, so
Oh.
Edgewater, they added 1 to the win total.
next week they're going against 8-2 Tampa Bay Tech, which I believe is actually a good matchup.
That's a very good matchup. Tampa Bay Tech is a perennial winner in Florida, always very, very good. That's going to be a great game to watch next week.
Next up, Cocoa, continuing their domination. A poor Lake Placid team. These poor seniors on this team got beat 63-0.
It's a tough last game.
That is a rough last game. I mean, I'm sure when they saw that on their schedule,
They weren't happy.
Oh, yeah.
I think they knew their season was probably over. No one said it, I imagine, in the locker room, but they had to know. Brady Hart, 9 of 11, 173 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wasn't really asked to do a whole lot, like Placid.
None of these quarterbacks were.
No.
This is weird week, but
Easy first-round matchups for a lot of these teams. They had such good regular seasons. They're going to be high seeds. Javon Boggs, wide receiver 1 at Cocoa, UCF commit, 4 catches, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A great game.
yeah, Javon Boggs, one word for him this season, consistent. Every game he's putting out great games.
Absolutely. He's not the most athletic player out there, but he's one of the best route runners in all of high school in the entire nation this year. He's on a bit of flip watch, though.
Really?
Yeah, he was originally – this kid can't pick a school. He was originally committed to Ohio State, flipped to Missouri, flipped to UCF. Now they're saying he might be going to Florida State next season, so
I
we'll
don't
see. That'd be
know why
4
he
different schools.
Yeah, I don't know why he'd do that. There's
Yeah.
a perfectly good Florida team over there in Gainesville. Would love to have him with DJ Lagway.
Absolutely. If he flips to Florida State, he's on transfer portal watch immediately. I would worry if I was Florida State that you're going to lose him. Back to Cocoa. Next week they face Berkeley Prep. I expect an easy route to another state title for Cocoa, really. Berkeley Prep, not much of a matchup. They're like the 75th or 72nd ranked team in Florida. Cocoa's going to run through them. They're going to run through the rest of the teams in this bracket. They're going to get another state title.
Next, we got Seminole. They beat a Creekside team 38-28. A little bit of a closer matchup, but I mean, a guy we've been worried about all season. Just committed recently.
Yeah, just committed to Illinois. Michael Clayton, 23 of 26, 377 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. This is what we worried about all season with Seminole. We worried that Michael Clayton, he didn't perform in the regular season. If he wasn't going to be able to perform in the playoffs, Seminole wasn't going to go very far.
Maybe it's just an effort thing, you know? Maybe he was
relaxing.
Wasn't trying nonchalant in those games. Put out a crazy performance
Yeah,
this
he
game.
had a lot of help, though. Devin Voltaire, the senior, 14 catches, 280 yards, and a touchdown.
It's a nasty game.
That is one of the best receiving games I have seen all season. Probably the best. 280 yards is ridiculous. Next week, Seminole, they've got University. University, not bad. Obviously, we watched them. They beat the Lions, but I think Seminole's going to get them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at University this week, they beat a Winter Park team, but only 31-23. And a Winter Park team that probably shouldn't be sticking with this University
Winter
team
Park
that close.
is not very good. I'd say Winter Park is pretty close to Oviedo, honestly, and they played about the same exact game they played with Oviedo. Anthony May on the ground, 13 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. Same as he does every week. He's always consistent. Malachi Walters, the quarterback, 16-19, 173 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, honestly, if we got any high school bettors out there, I'd take the under for Anthony May next week.
Absolutely.
I think
Seminoles' defensive line is
that's
incredible.
a great stat line to watch. There, I just can't see Anthony May getting past that D line.
Absolutely not. Next up, we've got Dr. Phillips. They beat Toho 49-21, rushed for 184 total yards. Pretty good performance from Dr. Phillips. Toho, not a great squad. Nothing to scoff at, but they're not super talented or anything.
Of course, Stanley Anderson Lofton, a guy I've liked all season. Only 13 of 22, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's a performance that gets the job done.
Absolutely. That's all you can ask for.
But yeah, next week they're running to a rock wall in Jupiter. This team 10-1. Very, very impressive team. I'm really worried for Dr. Phillips.
Yeah, I don't think Dr. Phillips is going to be able to make it out.
Next up, we got O'Galley. They beat Crystal River 35-0. Obviously, Crystal River, this team probably not too much to worry about for O'Galley. Joseph Allen, Merrick's favorite guy on earth, 7 for 12, 239 yards, 4 touchdowns and an interception. just another good performance from him.
Really good performance. You could see throughout all these games, the teams with the best quarterbacks usually win. All the teams with good quarterbacks are winning these first playoff games. That's really what I think it takes in high school. If you can get a quarterback who's accurate and has a good arm, knows how to read the defense, you're going to be able to make it pretty far. He had a great target this week. 4-star athlete Xavier Lurhesi, 3 catches, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Uncommitted, by the way, a big target for UCF in the 2026 class, a 4-star. Really, really good prospect. He can play safety or receiver at the next level.
Travis Hunter.
I don't know about Travis Hunter. Travis Hunters don't grow on trees, but it's all right.
Yeah.
Next week, O'Galley faces Titusville. That's going to be a really good matchup. Titusville gave O'Galley a big fight in the regular season. They only beat them 7-3. It was their closest matchup of the season. It's going to be a toss-up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think O'Galley, honestly, they've only gotten better this season.
Absolutely.
I could see that game, the score being a little more separated. But, I mean, 7-3, that's a really close score line. So
I think
this
this game's on Joseph Allen's shoulders, really.
Oh, yeah.
If he can only score 7 points, I don't know. Titusville might be able to get the win. But I trust him. I think he's going to have a great game, and I think O'Galley's going to get the win.
Yeah, I think there might be a big question there with his mentality. You know, how is he looking at this? Like, he's only a sophomore, so is he thinking, I've got nothing to lose out here, so I'm going to just sling it? Or is he thinking like, oh, my gosh, these seniors are probably going to, like, hate me if I go out there and throw 3 picks or something like that?
Yeah, that's the pressure of a quarterback, but he can handle it.
Bishop Moore, the last team we're going to talk about today, beat an East Side team 35-6. Bjorn Jurgensen, a baller, 13 of 18, 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, just another solid performance, but he's been great all season.
Another example of if you've got a quarterback who's going to go play at the next level, you're probably going to win games. Next week, Bishop Moore faces 8-3 Denellen. Bishop Moore, they've been a little shaky at the end of the season. You know, they lost to Lake Mary to end the season. Obviously, they got blown out by St. Thomas Aquinas. I think they're going to get it done against Denellen, but it's a real toss-up. That's not a guarantee at all.
Yeah, Bjorn, just something about his aura kind of gives me the vibes of a good playoff quarterback.
Really?
That's what I'm seeing here. But, I mean, you never know. This team, they went all over the country this year, you know. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do in these playoffs. That'll do it for this episode. Guys, we're going to start transitioning our episodes. Football season, it's coming to an end.
Coming to a close.
So, yeah, probably our focus is going to be on a lot of different sports. Basketball is going to be a big one for us.
Absolutely.
Probably soccer a little bit, too. We're just going to try to cover everything. Again, if you guys want to be on here, DM Oviedo now. Check out all our stories on OviedoJournalism.com. Listen to the Roar podcast. And, yeah, that's all we got for this week, guys. Have a good one.
Have a great day, guys.